Welcome to Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. Hopefully you remember Jared. I'm sure a lot of you know Jared pretty well from watching his channel and his years at Midwest Whitetail. He's here today offering inspiration, and he heard about this fat buck. He heard about it all the way down where he lives. The grapevine is very active.
Those are my favorite kind.
Well, hopefully he comes out tonight. We're going after him tonight. Give us a chance to catch up. We're going to go in the blind. And we thought about getting into a tree, but you know, if you do any amount of talking in the tree, eventually you're going to spook something. So we should be able to get caught up, find out what Jared's up to. We'll talk a little bit about deer, share as much of that as we can with you, and have a really nice evening. I'm thinking that today's November 1, it's early in the afternoon, not exactly sure the time, but this might be about the last chance for these deer coming out to food before the harassment from the bucks kind of keeps the does under wraps. Maybe there's a few more days, but we're going to sit back on that food plot. It's Whitetail Institute in winter greens and sorghum, and they've been hitting that pretty hard, so it'll be kind of fun to sit in there and see what pops out, see if the fat one comes out. If he does, we'll see how strong Jared is for dragging deer.
We'll find a way.
Yeah, you guys got to bring the young guys when you go after the fat ones. But yeah, we got to go up the bluff. Now that corn's gotten picked, so it's going to get a little trickier getting in there without the deer seeing us. It was bulletproof before, but now we got to go across the open cornfield, which could kind of expose us to some of the deer on the sides, but hopefully we can sneak in there. Wind is pretty light, but it's coming out of the right direction, blowing right out of the timber into the food plot, and should work out pretty well if the deer will cooperate. So we'll bring you, like I said, a bunch of updates on what Jared's doing, and hopefully some talk about deer in just a little bit. Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails is brought to you by Redneck Blinds, Code of Silence Apparel, Hunt Stand Pro Whitetail App, Whitetail Institute, Research Equals Results, B3 Releases, XO Broadheads, Exact Sights, Muddy Outdoors Tree Stands, Stealth Cam Trail Cameras, and Hoyt. It's 4 o'clock. We've got settled in, had 3 turkeys come by. The wind is perfect, blowing right out of the timber, right into the food plot. So we should be okay for the evening unless something switches. So you're hunting Minnesota now, some, and you know, I know you mentioned somewhere along the way, in text I think, that you had some pretty good hunts up there recently. What's been kind of what's been working, put it that way?
We've kind of dialed in the food plots up there a little bit, but it's still tough to hunt where the food is planted just based on the bluffs that surround it and the thermals as they switch in the evenings. You know, I think about thermals a lot back home, but it's a whole different animal once you get in this bluff country.
Well, it can work for you too, because tonight, if we were in the valley, we wouldn't have to worry about wind direction.
Right.
As low as the wind is right now.
Right.
Wouldn't matter, it's going down.
Right.
That's it. So sometimes it works for you, but you know, and I've got spots like that, but a lot of times if you don't anticipate it, it can really get you in trouble.
Yeah, it just depends on the specific spot itself too. Like a lot of the deer where I hunt up there come down off the bluffs in the evening to the bottoms where the fields are.
Yeah.
And so like you can't hunt the timber edge because maybe your wind is good, but once those first deer start working past you, everything's funneling down to them.
Yeah. Okay, so today's the 1st of November, and as you go back into hunting again, I'm assuming you'll start hunting again probably in the next few days. So what strategy are you going to be using? What are you going to do next?
I have, as many food plots and stuff as anyone else, but I love this time of year getting back in the cover. And unfortunately, I have, my farm's a perfect example of it. The access is so killer. Like I can dump down into a creek and go north to the north section of my farm. I can go south to the south section, and pretty much everywhere I hunt is played off of that creek.
Yeah.
And this time of year, I just love being back in the cover. One, I just think in the mornings your action goes later. In the afternoons your action's, usually pretty fast paced and early, and it's just this time of year, it's about being in the tree, and I just feel like back in the timber, it's even more so. So I'll get in some of those spots, especially if I have my recurve in hand. I'll be very focused on pinches where that deer movement gets forced down into a smaller spot, whether it's some TSI areas or just natural creek bends or anything like that. But those travel corridors back in the timber right now for me are the most fun.
Yeah.
The more I've seen, especially in those spots that I was just referring to too, like as far as an afternoon sit, I'm this time of year, during the rut, I see more action early afternoon, like 1 to 3, than I do then until sunset.
Because they start moving away.
Yeah.
That's what I found. Like on that lease where I shot those couple bucks not too far from here, I hunted the ridges almost exclusively, and they would just go dead. Like with the last hour, maybe hour and a half.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see anything.
Yeah.
But there'd be a lot of action up until then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like 3 does.
Oh, there's the buck to the left. Pretty nice one coming out. See him?
Oh, how far along? Oh, yeah. That's a good deer.
Yeah. It's one of my 3-year-olds, I'm sure. Big 8.
There's no way that's a 3-year-old.
Yeah, it is.
You think so? No way.
Maybe 4. Yeah. Oh, no. I don't recognize him. No, that's one of my 3-year-olds. I guarantee it. Yeah. He's got that little wavy thing on his right beam. I gotta be careful. These toes are right here now.
That's a 3-year-old deer.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll have to look at him a little better, but I'm pretty sure I know which one that is. Like I said, there's some whopping 3-year-olds here. Suppose I could shoot that doe. She's only 30 yards away. These does are chowing down. Oh, shoot. Are they both does?
Which one are you gonna shoot? The right one? Or the right?
If I do, it's gonna have to be her. I don't know the distance though. Just a little bit longer. What's that buck doing?
Which one did
pretty cool buck came in. The doe, I just couldn't resist when she offered that shot. It wasn't, I thought I could drill her right square in the front, but she kind of took a little half step and started to move a little bit, and I might have pulled the shot to the left somewhat too. But it wasn't perfect. I mean, she's either dead now or soon will be, but the shot angle, for most people wouldn't be a good one. I'm shooting 80 pounds with a small, penetration-minded fixed blade broadhead. I could probably shoot I don't know, at least an elk, if not bigger, with that same shot angle and have no trouble. But I didn't hit right where I wanted to either. Point being, that's not necessarily a shot for every situation, and I wouldn't recommend it unless you're shooting the same kind of tackle that I am, where, if you do hit right square on the shoulder, I was hoping to hit the shoulder, because that would have put her, right down, but it's one way to clear the field when they're already spooked.
Yeah, they're just getting to almost to the same spot every time when these deer bust in. And you can see the terrain right where our thermals are falling, and it's like clockwork. Every deer that gets to that spot knows something's up.
Yeah, and it's kind of too bad, but at the same time, hopefully if something does yet come out that we want to shoot, we know right where to shoot him at.
Yeah, I mean, every deer we could have killed, for sure. It was almost right where you shot that deer too.
We've had a pretty exciting last half hour or so. We've got about probably 20 minutes left here. They hit our scent at exactly the same spot. And then this most recent one that came in, she hit our scent even further out in the field. So when that day wind died and the thermals kicked in, it's kind of been the kiss of death for us, but I guess had we wanted to shoot that buck, we could have made that work, because he was within bow range out my corner window. But it's kind of a bummer when you spook pretty much everything that comes into the food plot. Literally, I think we spooked everything, haven't we?
Yep, and it just all thermals, I think. It's all been that late cooling air, and everything's kind of downhill from us that way.
Yeah, so fortunately I hadn't planned on hunting here a bunch, although that did kind of brighten my prospects seeing that nice buck come out. I'm calling him a 3-year-old, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll show you trail camera pictures of him from the past couple of years and let you decide. I've got 3 years worth of pictures of that deer, and interestingly, they were all on the other end of the farm. So, as the crow flies, probably a minimum of half a mile, maybe more, 3/4 of a mile. The 2 prior years, and this is the first year he's been over on this end quite a bit. So that's a deer that changed his core from age either 3 to 4 or 2 to 3. There's another buck that I can think of that did that I wish he would change his core back again. We haven't run into any signs of the old Jordan buck, but my hope is when this next weather pattern plays itself out with all this rain that's coming Sunday and Monday, I'll probably sit that out, and then I'll be 100% focused on trying to find that deer. Jared's got Minnesota to hunt, and he's got his home farm.
Yeah. Hopefully with the recurve, but yeah, I'm definitely not gonna stay out of the woods. It seems to be breaking loose right now, so I'll be out every chance I can get.
Okay, so one last thing before we go, and this is maybe the most interesting thing. Young Amos was out on the public land again and saw his #1 buck that we talked about last night that I was hoping to try to figure out a way to sneak in the side door and hunt out from under him. But I think he's locked in on that buck now, but he saw him again tonight. And I think he's gonna bring the footage by so we can throw that on the end of this episode too and keep Amos's story alive. Well, we appreciate you joining us. We'll see you right back here again soon for the next episode of Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. And remember to always dream
big.
It'd be interesting when I roll her over to see exactly where that arrow went, but she only went, I bet you 100 yards, a little bit more than that, 125 yards. So, see that?
Yeah, I got a little bit.
So that's the B3 Destruct 3 fixed blade broadhead, and I've always been a mechanical broadhead shooter just for the accuracy, but after shooting this one for a couple of years, this is a very, very accurate head to the distances that I shoot. You know, I'm only good to 40 yards now, but this hits pretty close to my field points, maybe an inch low at 40, and boy, it sure does a number. I shot a doe. Now you're going to get a kick out of this. A doe with Jordan's bow last year because she couldn't drop back, her shoulder was hurt, with one of these broadheads. That's a 35-pound bow, whatever it is. And I hit her pretty similar to this in the shoulder, broke the front leg, and the deer only went about 60 yards with a, like I said, 35-pound bow pushing this head. So I guess I'm a firm believer now. I wish B3 made some kind of deer cart or something that we could haul her up the hill on.